This is where I think we can spend money unnecessarily. We can fall victim to predatory marketing and end up really frustrated and out money. What goes around comes around, huh?
Yeah.
10 years in the industry as business owners and coaches, plus, I don't know, 3 decades of personal experience. We've seen some trends come and go, have we not?
Yes, we have. Some are maybe gone for good, which I'd be happy to
Oh, I hope so.
embrace.
Yes. We want to talk about what we anticipate coming for 2026. And I think this is a helpful conversation because when you can anticipate trends and changes to the industry, what you see on the shelves at your grocery store, your library, the magazine headlines, the TikTok reels and videos, you can kind of view it through a different lens. You have some awareness. Like,
Right.
we saw this coming. This isn't new news. And in each of these, I want to talk about things that I want our listeners to keep an eye out for so you aren't prey or you don't fall victim to anything that's unhelpful, false, full of BS.
Yes.
Right? So, have you looked at the list?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Did any of them surprise you?
No, I mean, yeah. I mean, this is like, it's like, are these coming for 2026? Have they arrived in 2025? Yeah.
Well, I certainly hope that some of them are true because I feel very confident that some of these trends are definitely going to benefit Balance365. So let's get into it. Just for context, I did a fair amount of research on my own. I used ChatGPT to look at like consumer trends, search results, search histories, spending trends. And the number one trend that we are predicting for 2026 is that GLP-1s are going to go mainstream, even more so than they are now. And that is because that's for a couple of reasons. Obesity is becoming more recognized as a chronic metabolic condition, not just a willpower issue, not just like an effort issue, which is great. I think we've needed that for years and years and years. The medications are highly effective, and it sounds like we're on the verge of getting some maybe even oral variations. The cost is dropping. There is pharmaceutical investments, insurance coverage, telehealth. It's becoming more accessible, right? Which is all great. And for
Just so everybody knows what GLP-1s are, because I know some people don't know what GLP-1s mean. That is the class of drugs commonly known as what? Mounjaro, Wegovy. Yes, they're the appetite suppressant medications.
Yes. And for anyone listening that might be new or unfamiliar, we get this question a lot. Do you work with women on GLP-1s? And I think there's a common misconception or just a belief that I'm either getting coaching and support or I'm on a medication. And our answer to that is yes, we do. We have worked with members on GLP-1s for years before all of this became even like trendy. And we would say you can do both. And members who combine medication as needed with behavior change thrive.
Yes.
And we don't see GLP-1s as cheating. We see them as a tool that can be really helpful to a lot of people. And there are also opportunities to work on skills outside of that can really be complementary of that experience. And your habits at the end of the day still matter. So what we can expect to see more specifically in 2026 is more people will stay on GLP-1s as long-term, not and like maintaining, not just a quick fix, which is probably needed for a lot of people. Muscle loss, the topic of muscle loss will become a huge public conversation. And we can probably anticipate more pushing protein, more pushing strength training into the spotlight, which we're already seeing, right? I thought this was interesting. There are predictions that restaurants and food brands will quietly or not so quietly adjust their portions to meet smaller appetites. And
from a food environment perspective, right? I know this is, to cater to people on GLP-1s, but from from a food environment perspective, I don't know if you've ever traveled outside of North America. The portions are not, right? They're not the same.
I remember when I came to Canada for the first time, and maybe this is just a reflection of the establishments that I dine in, you often have an option of like a 6 or a 9 ounce glass of wine. Does that sound right?
Yep. Yeah.
I don't see that often here in the United States. I see like one size and it's big.
Yeah.
And I'm not complaining.
Right.
But it does seem to just trickle over into the food as well, the portion sizes. But I'll be interested to see if prices also adjust then.
They will not. Let's get real. But all of that to say is, right, like, you know, restaurants or food companies or whatever adjusting their portions. I want to say that they already have, and I don't think that was necessarily driven by GLP-1 trends. I think it's driven by, what's it called? It's the
cost of food?
Yeah, it's the great something, shrinkflation.
Yes.
Is the phrase. So the granola bars that I buy for my kids' lunch boxes are in the same package, but they're smaller now than they used to be. Right. So things like that are changing. And I know it's outrageous on the side when you think about the why this is happening, right? It's not for the good of human beings. Let's get real. It is for profit margins of big companies. Mm-hmm. That part is outrageous, but I remember pausing when I noticed and thinking, like, is this a bad thing? It's outrageous why they did it, but the effect is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There might be some silver lining.
Yeah, like smaller portions of calorically dense food are something that our society needs. That is a side note in this podcast episode on health trends.
Yeah. We can also anticipate programs, apps, supplements, fitness plans specifically marketed as GLP-1 friendly, which we've talked about that in Balance365 because we, as mentioned, we do get that question a lot. Can I be on a GLP-1 and join Balance365? I guess authentically and with integrity, highlighting that yes, we do work with those people, not just as a marketing gimmick, right? Mm-hmm. And that people in general will probably need more guidance on eating enough protein, preserving muscle mass, building routines that don't depend on hunger cues alone. Because if they're quieted, we still need to be eating, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And with that, there are some things to keep an eye out for. And this is the part this is the part of each of these trends that I really hope listeners are listening to, because this is where I think we can spend money unnecessarily. We can fall victim to predatory marketing and end up really frustrated and out money. So we can anticipate seeing a wave of questionable GLP-1 support supplements and products that aren't evidence-based, but heavily marketed. We're already seeing that, right?
Nature's GLP-1, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. A lot of fear-based messaging around muscle loss and rebound weight, which could push people towards more restrictive and extreme programs. I think there's also like a conversation around that with kind of body shaming, you know, about how people lose weight, but they don't look better. That's kind of sort of the narrative. And that's really yucky. And I think that's where the push to maintain muscle mass enters the conversation, you know, and maybe not in a loving way.
Yeah.
Influencers is, again, nothing new, but influencers and brands overhyping results or even hide medication use, and that can create unrealistic expectations and pressure. That came up in a Facebook group recently. A member, it sounded like this influencer in particular was someone that a lot of people were familiar with. I was not, but she shared that she was on a GLP-1 after, I think, spending, the year or 2 years prior promoting a program that helps with weight loss and body composition changes and going through her own change, but not disclosing that she was using a GLP-1 along the way. And the women in the comments felt so betrayed. They were misled. And I think, the sentiment that I was gathering from these women was that it's not that they cared that they were on a GLP-1, but that there wasn't a sense of transparency.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel that way about steroids, honestly.
Yeah.
With
wood.
Okay, but is she on something, or did she just get that through years and years of training alone and nutrition?
Yeah.
Because it's not, it's not apples to apples. And I think that that should be part of the conversation, not from a shaming standpoint, but from just in the spirit of transparency.
Full disclosure, if I'm trying to sell you something that is attached to my own personal body composition results, we need some disclosure, whether that's GLP-1 usage or steroid usage.
Yeah.
In the fitness industry, which honestly is not like uncommon. So
no, and for women too.
Yeah.
I think people would be surprised with how many women are using steroids. But, again, in the spirit of Balance 365, I can have a lot of compassion for those women that are struggling to disclose that or hesitate to disclose that, because I do feel, just in my own personal experience, pressure to look a certain way or to maintain a physique. And if you're struggling with that, you might be desperate to turn to means that you feel conflicted about and then therefore hide it. So,
yeah.
We might also be seeing some telehealth clinics or compounding pharmacies cutting corners as demands grow. People need to be discerning about where they're getting their medication from and their guidance and support from, because there's a lot of probably unqualified people, kind of MLM sort of sales stuff going on.
Yeah.
And because so many people will be stopping cycling or switching medications, the market will likely be flooded with off-ramp or post-GLP-1 products. Some might be helpful and some might be predatory. So I could see that being a big market. Like, you don't want to be on GLP-1 forever. Here's how you transition off of it.
Yeah, just be discerning. But nothing wrong with wanting to decrease your dose or see if you can transition off. We have members doing just that. Be discerning on. Here's what I would say about that. I know this isn't a GLP-1 podcast. I would say most people are not going to know what's going to happen when they try to decrease or transition off their GLP-1. Some people are going to be able to, and some people are not going to be able to without, weight regain and food noise and appetite coming back. That's all. I just think that's unknown territory that we don't know a lot about. We have some studies that have been published showing that this is a medication you're going on for life, and that when people do stop the medication, the weight comes back. And then we also have stories of people who share that they have transitioned off successfully, right? So we just don't know, but be discerning and know that this trend is coming.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Trend number 2. AI becomes a core health tool. I feel very conflicted about this. AI isn't coming. It's already here. And I think most people don't realize how deeply ingrained AI is already integrated in our day-to-day health tools, but just all of our life in general. Most wearables like the Whoop, Oura Ring, Apple Watch, I'm sure, apps, even quote unquote personal coaching programs are using AI behind the scenes a lot of times. And as we move into 2026, AI is probably going to become the default layer of support that people interact with first, whether you know it or not. And I'll get into my thoughts on this, but why this is happening. It's already happening. As I mentioned, like Aura, Whoop, Apple, they're using AI to analyze patterns and help deliver insights, even if they don't call it AI. That's the technology that they're using. Many telehealth companies, chat-based programs, and online coaches are using AI-generated scripts or automated responses, oftentimes without disclosure, which is that grinds my gears. And it's also happening because consumers want instant answers, right? They want personalized plans. They want convenient support at their fingertips. And AI makes that really cheap and scalable and accessible, right? So again, a quick note for listeners, if you're curious, in our work, we use AI to help us analyze data, help us do things like proofread and brainstorm, verify, here's what we see is happening in the data, or our marketing or our members' experiences. Is that what you see? But our coaching is all human to human. We have a very strict no AI policy in our coaching interactions.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. I mean, when somebody you're either talking to them on Zoom or we're messaging back and forth. And I think it's pretty clear that we're doing human to human coaching. And I have conflict around AI as well, but I just want to share that we run a small business. And like any small business owner out there, you never have enough time. It's just is time constraints everywhere. The way AI has made me better at my ability to manage the operations side of running a business is just amazing to me. And I am so grateful. I want to be released from the operations side of our business so that I can do more human to human coaching. So I can talk to women more, right? And be more accessible to them. But I mean, really, we'll get into this in our next podcast. Like, the operation side of any small business can, as any small business owner knows, can overwhelm you very quickly. You get into business to do something that you love, and suddenly you don't feel like you're doing a lot of what you love. You're running a business. So I am so grateful for how AI has released me from some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. That we're definitely pro AI and Balance365, I guess, but just not in our coaching experiences. I do hope that in the next, I don't even want to put a timeline on it, but in the years ahead, that we are able to build and integrate up to our standards, which might be hard to do, some sort of like AI coach that can help members answer questions in real time when they aren't able to get that human to human chat, that helps them manage urges or walks them through an exercise or a worksheet that they could have in their back pocket. I think it's a great complement, but I don't think it's a replacement.
For sure. I do think, like, humans connection is part of what satisfies us as humans. And I hope our members enjoy connecting with us as much as we like connecting with them.
Yeah. So with that in mind, what we can expect to see: meal plans, shopping lists, weekly routines generated automatically through AI, often inside apps that people are already using, wearables starting to predict stress spikes, sleep needs, menstrual symptoms, recovery demands, sending like more early intervention systems or suggestions, more wellness platforms quietly replacing entire support teams with AI generated scripts, which again, I don't love, because what I don't love about that is when it's not disclosed and people
just disclose it. Like, yeah.
AI habit nudging that becomes more personalized and sometimes like creepily accurate, because it is good at what it does, detecting trends and patterns, right? More programs marketed as coaching, even though the majority of communication is automated, and human coaches needing to offer more depth and context because that surface level stuff will be automated everywhere. And I think we're kind of already seeing this. Like, I don't know, I could be wrong, but do we need coaches calculating macros anymore?
No. Yeah. No.
You can you can say, ChatGPT, walk me through this, do this for me.
I mean, and even, right, like I think you do this. You take a photo of your fridge and you're like, hey, what can I make tonight? You're doing stuff like that.
Yeah,
not at this time, but it's just amazing for someone like you to have that ability. It's not innate for you, right?
I uploaded for our members listening, I uploaded our Balanced Meals workbook to ChatGPT. I made a custom ChatGPT and I said, I shop at Aldi. Here, I have 4 kids. Here are our preferences. I want 5 suppers each week that I can cook in under 30 minutes and meet these guidelines and the Balance365 guidelines, and boom, meal plan.
Got it.
Done.
Yeah. So coaches are going to have to become better coaches.
Yeah. Which is one of those areas I think we are ready for. Bring it on. Okay. So with that trend in mind, things that listeners need to be aware of. Some programs will use AI coaches and won't disclose it. We touched on that. You might think you are talking to a human and you are not. And listen, I don't know if you have seen some of the Nano Banana or the Sora videos. They are ridiculously lifelike. I cannot tell the difference.
Explain.
They're just videos and images that look so real. It is, I cannot discern half the time that it is AI generated content. There is technology where we could clone our voice. We can upload a 30-second clip of our voice and suddenly you're getting, phone calls or voice messages from who you think is your coach, but it's actually a bot. So just a lot more discernment is going to need to be made if having a human on the other end is important to you. If you're okay being coached by a bot and you don't care if they're telling the truth or not, then maybe this isn't an issue for you. Companies might overhype AI personalization, but underneath it's generic advice that isn't tailored to your real life. That kind of falls in line with, what do they call it? Drifting, or what do they call it when AI like generates ideas that are like hallucinating? You know how that happens, right? Like you're having a conversation and all of a sudden it's like goes just completely south and you're like, what are you even talking about? I never mentioned that.
I don't think I use AI as much as you.
Oh, okay. Well, that might happen. And so I guess my point with that is if the advice feels generic or even wrong or doesn't suit you, that like just keep an eye out for it. Take it with a grain of salt. Privacy concerns will grow as more health data is collected, analyzed, used to make predictions about you. That's another reason we don't want AI in our coaching interactions. We don't want to release member data, right? Like that doesn't feel good. And because AI feels efficient and productive, people might confuse information with action and gathering more plans and ideas without actually following through. You can have the best plan on paper, written out for you, totally personalized, and it's not worth anything because you're not doing it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Trend number 3, longevity is going to go more practical. So for years, we've heard about biohacking, cold plunges, red light therapies, ridiculously expensive wearables, complicated supplement stacks, these like 10-step morning and evening routines that none of us are maintaining.
Yeah, from health to skincare to how to dress yourself in the morning. It is my number one social media avoidance reason, actually, is all these complex things.
Yes, detailed, complex, and expensive. People are shifting towards something more realistic. People are moving towards more practical longevity, walking, protein, sleep, strength, mobility, balance, managing stress, the basics that actually improve your health span. And again, this is what I'm like, yes, this is going to be a good year for us. And why this is happening, consumers are burnt out with expensive, complicated wellness routines. Every major wellness report from 2024 to 2025 shows that people want simplicity and sustainability, not optimization. What I think is really interesting is search trends show huge growth in topics like walking, mobility, strength training for women over 40, sleep and healthy aging, while biohacking searches have stalled out. I'm so excited to see that trend. Wearables like Aura, Whoop, Garmin, they're shifting away maybe from performance and more towards recovery, sleep, readiness, because that's what people are caring about. Women 40 to 65, again, our demographic, like these are our people. They are really driving the majority of wellness spending and they want to age well. And they want to have more energy. They want to prevent energy. They want to maintain their capacity and they don't want gimmicks. This is also the same demographic that is probably has a lot of responsibilities. They're maybe caring for aging parents while also raising children. Maybe they're working full time. Maybe they're not, but they've got a lot on their plate and they just don't have time.
Yeah.
Maybe you've tried and you're like, I can't do this, right?
Yeah, you just reach. I think a lot of women around 40 reach a breaking point with these bananas protocols.
Yeah, it's like fashion trends, right? Like, okay, I've done this so many times, I'm over it. Like, I'm not falling again for this.
Yeah.
The second time. And truthfully, another reason this trend is likely to come is because of economic pressure. And people just want low cost, effective, simple habits, not expensive gadgets, especially ones that don't work.
Yeah.
These are all things in alignment that we're already talking with our members about in Balance 365. So I'm super stoked. I really hope that this comes to fruition in the years ahead. What we can expect to see is more women lifting weights for energy, for aging well, not necessarily for aesthetics, a surge and programs marketed as mobility, for balance, for joint health, future proofing your body. More simple, short routines like 10 minutes strength, 5-minute mobility, walking challenges, more content around muscles as a vital organ. And creators and brands and coaches shifting towards sustainable, accessible, everyday habits instead of these complicated 10-step routines. We're ready. We're already there.
We've been preparing for this for 10 years, everybody.
Yes. We are the classic staple items in your closet that you wear time and time again. And sometimes maybe you branch out to try something trendy.
Of
yes.
Health and wellness. Yeah.
That's exactly what we are. With all of that, some things to be aware of this trend. Companies are probably going to try to rebrand old wellness products as longevity essentials, even if they're not necessary. Influencers may push complex longevity stacks like supplements plus tech plus routines. These are likely going to be just a distraction from the basics. Probably a lot of fear-based marketing around aging that tries to sell insecurity instead of empowering people. Some programs, as always with marketing, are going to exaggerate what they can do, exaggerate longevity claims. And because
genetics.
Yes. Yes. And because longevity becomes trendy, the industry will get noisy, but not everything being sold will actually improve your health span.
Yeah, it would be another distraction.
I mean, this is who doesn't want to do things that help them live longer and have a higher quality of life.
And better, yes. Yeah.
So this is another area that I think people are really going to need to be discerning because, as mentioned, that fear-based mongering can be really powerful.
Yeah.
Like, essentially, don't do this and you're going to die, you know? So trend number 4, emotional regulation becomes a core health skill. Once again, we are ahead of the trend. We have seen in the past a lot of mental health conversations online, a lot of uptick in like therapy accounts, therapy memes, mindfulness apps, conversations about burnout and anxiety. But in 2020, the anticipated shift is trending towards something like emotional regulation as a health behavior. And people want skills for managing stress, urges, boredom, overwhelm, frustration. They don't want just awareness or even diagnosis. The trend is predicting that we're going to start seeing emotional regulation as like a similar skill as physical fitness.
Yeah, you know what? I see this majorly in the sports world with my kids on different sports teams. And this past year, people have talked more about mental fitness, mindset than any other year of watching my boys in sports. And it's wonderful. And what's interesting about this is, you know, of course, you find that skill when you find it, right? When you need it, you find it. Great that kids may find this young and sports were their trajectory, but this is a transferable skill. So we teach it in the context of nutrition coaching, but it is a transferable skill. So I'm all for it.
I just had a coaching call with a woman this morning who was continuously eating past full at dinner or satisfied at dinner. And she wanted to stop. And we talked about it in conversation. She said, I don't want to feel disappointed. I don't want to feel sad. I don't want to feel overwhelmed or lonely. So I keep eating. And we talked about just that. Like, this is the skill you need to be able to handle these uncomfortable emotions. And it will pay tenfold in every other area of your life, for sure.
Yeah.
So why this is trending? Well, chronic stress is rising. If you are listening to this podcast, you probably are like, yeah, no kidding. Especially for women 35 to 64, the American Psychological Association, their data shows that stress levels have increased for 5 years straight, and midlife women report the highest emotional load of any demographic. Yeah. So if you're like, I'm stressed, and every woman I know is stressed, your perception is accurate. You're not imagining things. Mental health apps have plateaued, but skill-based apps like distress tolerance, grounding, DBT tools, impulse control apps, they are growing at double-digit rates. Google search trends since 2022 show huge growth in terms like nervous system regulation, I've seen a lot of that lately. Emotional coping skills, distress tolerance, executive function, how to stop emotional eating, while self-care ideas and motivation hacks and generic mindfulness searches are declining.
Interesting.
Yeah. Again, wearables are shifting their focus to stress tracking, mood logging, resilience scores, recovery prompts. GLP-1s have unintentionally maybe revealed the emotional aspect of eating, which again is no news to us, that even if your hunger, the hunger sensation plummets, you might still have urges to eat.
Still eating.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're realizing like, oh, my eating wasn't always a result of like feeling physically hungry.
Yeah.
It's often emotionally driven. And midlife women are openly hungry for these tools. They are, as I mentioned, they're navigating these careers, they're caregiving, they're home, they might be managing perimenopause or menopause. And they don't want more information about why they are having this experience. They want skills that help them feel better.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
So again, we've taught this for years in Balance 365. This is nothing new. If you're in our program, you're going to be like, oh, good, I'm ahead of the curve. But what we can anticipate to see as we move into 2026, growth in programs that teach coping skills, impulse management, emotional awareness, especially marketed towards women in that midlife age range. Wearables and apps offering early warnings for stress spikes, low resilience, emotional overload, and suggestions with how to respond. I get that already with my Aura app. It tells me about my readiness and my HRV and all that good stuff. More content about handling urges, pausing before reacting, managing stress without spiraling. A shift towards capacity training, sleep recovery boundaries, planning, emotional skills, like not just workouts. So like you said, mental fitness as it like the kind of the equivalent to the physical fitness for the body. We've got the mental fitness for
lifting heavier mentally.
Yes. Oh, I like that. That I can get on board with. And probably more GLP-1 users talking about emotional eating that remains even after the hunger drops. And things to be aware of with this, some creators are going to be oversimplifying nervous system content into aesthetic or spiritual stuff that doesn't actually teach skills. I think nervous system regulation is a really hot topic, and I would encourage people to be very, very discerning with some of the diagnosis.
Well, yeah, and also to understand there's growing concern from actual therapy professionals about how, quote unquote, therapy speak is infiltrating society and marketing and not being used in appropriate contexts. And so, be very discerning. The way that Annie and I have spoken for years on this podcast about how a lot of the like health and wellness grifters are taking complex topics and simplifying them in a way that people are like, oh, I get it, right? So an example would be that glucose goddess, for example, right? She takes diabetes, insulin, like she takes these like physiological concepts and she speaks about them on her platform in a way that people can go, oh, I understand that, but it's misinformation, disinformation. The same is going to happen for psychological concepts, right? And there are people online trying to push back, right? Professionals trying to push back against right? Like I saw one the other day that's like, so does everyone have narcissistic personality disorder now? Like it's just like this. We're going around labeling people. And I do think probably a pendulum swing from, zero psychological awareness in our society to almost like a pendulum swing. And now we're going to have to settle back in center here.
Yeah.
But the same way companies are going to use the GLP-1, they're going to take advantage of people in the GLP-1 sphere because they know it's trending. There will be companies taking advantage on the psychological side. And I think nervous system regulation is becoming just a phrase that's getting thrown out there all over the place.
Yeah. I think a lot of these phrases kind of in that category are just we're getting real loose and casual with them. And there's a lot of people that are making diagnosis that they have no business doing so, or that are using that fear And what really bums me out about this is knowing, just from my own like personal experience and knowing the women that we coach, like this is a demographic of women. This midlife woman is stressed and they are probably pretty freaking miserable. And they are desperate for relief. And that desperation can make you really, really vulnerable to buying, doing whatever someone that sounds confident and knowledgeable says to do. And sometimes it can be helpful and sometimes not. Just we really need to be discerning for sure.
Yeah.
We can expect to see emotional regulation getting kind of marketed as this like personality makeover instead of a practice and a skill.
Yeah.
Expect a lot of misinformation, over labeling. Everything is trauma. Everything is dysregulation. We were just talking about that. Some tools will try to package emotional work as a quick hack, which our members will say like, no, this takes a lot of time and practice. You got to get those reps in. And as emotional regulation becomes trendy, people may confuse, again, consuming emotional content with actually practicing emotional skills. And that's not the same thing. I mean, we see this in the dieting world too. People want to learn and learn and learn about nutrition, but they don't never actually spills over into their behaviors.
Well, yeah, and then they're like overlearning and they're going into they start consuming misinformation about nutrition, and it feels good. The reality is it feels good to be in the planning stage of change, or it feels good to be consuming information. It can feel like action. But the reality is action is uncomfortable. So you're consuming information. It's comfortable, and because you're not actually changing, it can feel like you are, but you're not. And that is going to come in this area as well.
Yeah. This wasn't on my list originally, but one thing I just want to know is I want to encourage anyone listening to recognize the conscious or unconscious belief, and maybe it'll be sold explicitly or highlighted explicitly as a result. This idea that like, if I just had a regulated nervous system, if I just could regulate my emotions, then I would never feel discomfort. Then I would feel happy and content all the time. And that would be great if that was possible. But at the end of the day, we're humans and we have a whole spectrum of emotions, and experiencing all of them from time to time as part of the human experience. And our goal for our members is to help them handle the good, the bad, the ugly, the boring, the overwhelm well. Yeah. Not feel it.
Yeah.
Okay, the fifth and the final trend, save this for last. Women 40 to 65 will become the wellness power demographic. For decades, the wellness, health, weight loss industry has catered mostly to young women with aesthetics, dieting, bikini bodies, detoxes, extremes. But in 2026, we can anticipate that shifting. Women in midlife are becoming the primary drivers of wellness spending, culture, and priorities. They're literally reshaping the industry. I think there's also some statistics. I think 70 to 80% of consumer purchasing are from women, and women over 50 are estimated to control around 15 trillion in spending.
Get it.
Yes. I hope this is because these are women that have money and they're like, I'm spending it on me.
Yeah.
This is also happening because we have an aging population and increased life expectancy. Yeah. We're living longer, we're working longer, we are investing more and maintaining our health span as we get older, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. But that also means that what we're doing in midlife or even is just as important, right? Multiple wellness reports show that midlife women are shifting spending away from aesthetic wellness and towards strength, mobility, metabolic health, and emotional resilience. Search trends since 2022 show surges in menopause, perimenopause symptoms, strength training for women over 40, protein for women, and healthy aging, while extreme dieting and aesthetic searches are declining, which is awesome. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We're getting our senses about us.
Yeah.
And again, this demographic is, as we've mentioned multiple times, navigating a lot of life changes, probably with career, caregiving, aging parents, teens, hormones, and they want wellness that's works and rooted in feeling good, not necessarily just looking a certain way. And I would also say that a lot of women that we've worked with in particular, have realized that even at their lowest, leanest, lightest weight, they were not any happier. They weren't as happy as they thought they would be. And so they're really detaching from their weight and their look and really leaning more towards like, God, I just want to feel good.
Yeah, I'll share. I can't think of one coaching client that I have whose goal is to become their leanest self. Like that. I mean, of course, that's not who we attract, but the women we work with, the ones that they do have a fat loss goal, but they're just looking to live their like highest quality life, right? They're not obsessing over, I mean, they may in the beginning, right? There might be like some stuff to unpack, but it's like, they're not like, how do I get that number down on the scale as lean as possible? Can't see my six pack. I need to be able to see my six pack. Like this, just not that stuff that honestly, it sounds silly coming out of my mouth, but it was like prevalent a decade ago.
Yeah.
Right? Like I haven't seen a bikini body mommy go viral in many years. And that used to be like you and I were just bombarded with that in the, like when we were becoming mothers, and it was just,
oh my God, what is she doing? I need to have what she's having. What's the secret?
Yeah. So maybe we're removed. People might write in and say that still exists. You two are not looking hard enough. Maybe it does. I don't see it anymore.
Well, I'm sure there probably are women that are still in that headspace, but the women that we attract, they've kind of, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it seems like they've maybe matured. Or
and just
grown past
sort of like
or out of that.
accepted like a more like mature journey, I guess. And it is about their health.
It's kind of the same way that like people might strive, spend their first, 30s, 40s trying to make as much money as possible and realize like, oh my God, I'm not any happier. And now I'm working all the time and I'm not even spending the money that I did make.
Yeah. I'd say finding peace, like peace with food also is a big driver of our members too. I want to be healthy. I'd like to see some fat loss. And like, I need to be having a more peaceful experience with food.
Yeah. For sure. It's almost like that balance between the two.
Yeah.
So with that, what we can expect to see in 2026, a surge in strength and mobility programs specifically made for women in midlife, probably joint friendly, time efficient, aggressive, accessible, more discussion around metabolic health, insulin resistance, brain health, mood, sleep, muscle prevention, big growth in perimenopause and menopause tech, which we talked about, what is it called? The money pause. In our episode with Amanda Thebe, go back and listen to that if you didn't catch that, about how there is just a huge influx in perimenopause and menopause programs, services, tech, because people see dollar signs, right?
Yeah. And, and then the general public is developing this belief that there's like special things out there for them for this. See, like, oh, I need special nutrition protocols. Oh, I need a special exercise protocol. Those things that I used to do aren't going to work for me anymore. I need something different, right? Which is just, listen to the episode.
Yeah. We hopefully, fingers crossed, can see more influencers in their 40s, 50s, and 60s becoming leaders of wellness content, not the side category.
Yeah, that's fun. And shout out to Amanda Thebe, who is part of that, right? Leading that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Conversation, influence. Yeah.
We can maybe anticipate brands pivoting aggressively towards midlife women with better programs, smarter supplements, messaging, again, shifting towards longevity and capacity, and more creators openly talking about aging, hormone changes, strength loss, recovery needs, and what actually helps women feel better in the long term. So with that in mind, some of that's great. Love to hear it. But with that, as mentioned, the menopause market will probably get extremely predatory. It
already is. It is just baloney. Yes.
Yeah. Expensive, unregulated hormone balancing supplements and gimmicks and stuff you don't need, right? A lot of brands are going to play on midlife women's fears like weight gain, aging, fatigue, and use that to sell you extreme or restrictive programs. There will be influencers with no qualifications giving medical advice around menopause, HRT, metabolic health, weight loss. I don't know if I ever told you this. I can't even remember the company and right now, but I had some sort of medical company invite me to their influencer program where essentially they wanted me to sell these HRT and peptides and whatnot, like as if I have any qualifications to be selling medication to people. It's just absolutely wild.
There is a network marketing company doing something in this sphere. I don't have the details, and all you have to do to sell is to sign up as a salesperson. Yeah.
And so again, just be discerning with who you're getting your information from. Are they qualified? Is this legit? Definitely give it the side eye a couple times. Companies are probably going to exaggerate claims, market generic programs as menopause solutions. I mean, truth be told, like our menopause solution, quote unquote, if we had one, it would look very, very similar to what we do with Balance365, right? Like our core 4 is our core 4 for anyone.
If you're 35, 45, 55, 65, we're using the core 4.
Yes. Yeah. And again, because midlife women are finally being centered, the noise level again is going to rise, and just remembering that not all of it's going to be trustworthy.
Yeah.
So lots of potentially really good things to come.
Yeah, I love that there are things trending that are being driven by people who want, simple, more sustainable. We're going in the right direction, but with the upswing there's always the like downside on the other end.
Yeah. And I think we see this on a person on the individual level where they go really hard and they make everything's complex and they get really detailed. And then they realize, oh my God, I can't sustain this. Half of this doesn't even work. I spent all this money and I didn't get the results I want. And then they pendulum swing to the opposite end and they're like, okay, I'm maybe not doing anything, or I'm doing a very bare bones. And that's what's happening on a cultural level, right? We went hard in the paint with do this and this 10-step program and these supplements and intensity and complexity. People are like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Even if it did work, I can't do that. And now they're searching for something that does. So it doesn't surprise me. And I'm sure with some time in this more simple basics approach, we'll probably inch our way back to more complex. And it's just going to be this cyclical pattern. But this is our time to shine.
We hope.
I'm so stoked. So if you are in for simple basics, foundations with nutrition, with emotions, with your eating, with your movement, with just your overall health and well-being, get on our wait list.
Yeah, Balance365 in 2026.
It's coming. Okay, anything to add?
No, I don't think so. That was awesome.
Okay, well, thanks so much for hanging out with me. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.